let me just like briefly recap. The video is late. If you're watching this, you already know that. But the week's video is late because this week I had a fair, like a tiny art fair at my faculty, and well, I needed to prepare, which meant making a lot of tiny guys, painting them, sealing them. I mean, I had fun, but I am so sleep deprived, dude. I had like maybe 5 hours of sleep throughout the week, so I feel a little bit nuts. I'm tired. I'm so tired. I am so tired. I am getting ready for the last day of the fair, and this is what I'm gonna wear. This Peanuts shirt and a sort of watercolor skirt. It has like some watercolors of the city, and I really like it, so I'm wearing it. This is what we're wearing, and I'm gonna take all these little guys with me, and I guess I'll take you with me so you can see how I set up my table and what it looks like. And I'm also gonna show you how I sculpted some of these. I didn't record like the entire process, because if I had, that would have been like 50 hours of footage that I would have to cut through, and I really was not feeling up to that. So I only recorded some of the sculpting. I didn't really record the painting. Maybe I'm gonna do like one piece specifically for a video in the future, so you can see how I like do the whole thing. But these are my little cold porcelain clay creations. See, I dropped them a lot, but it's fine because porcelain clay is really sturdy. Like, I would say comparable to polymeric, or even harder than polymeric clay. Like, this thing hardens like a rock. I've never had a piece break, so that's great. So okay, I gotta run, so let's go. Hi, I am so glad to be back. I'm sorry that the video is late, but let me just briefly talk about the materials that I'm using. This is cold porcelain clay. This is what I use to sculpt. You can make it at home, but usually I just buy mine. I haven't tried making my own yet. You also need water-based glue. Any kind of water-based glue will work just fine. I'm using wood glue because I ran out of like the normal water-based glue, but it works just fine. Any kind of water-based glue will do. You also need something to color the clay, because if it dries without it being colored, it will just look sort of a cream transparent. I'm using tube watercolors, and I use Mod Podge to sort of seal the acrylic painting or any coloring that I do after the clay's dried. And you'll need some moisturizer to stop the clay from sticking to your hands. And of course, you'll need a little bit of water and your preferred sculpting tools. These are all the ones that I use. And I'm sorry that the recording angle is not the best. I know I did my best to find like the right height for the camera. But since I work in such a small format, mostly I do like miniature stuff, like it's pretty small. The camera is still kind of far away, so you can't see everything I'm doing, but I did my best with the camera position. I still need to find like the best angle and height for the sculpting videos. I'm still trying to like find that particular sweet spot for the camera. First, I'm making little clowns, very small. I'm just making a very simple body, sort of a triangle with two little legs, all the heads. I'm making a bunch of clowns in different colors. Mostly, you can see that I use my hands to do all the basic sculpting. Cold porcelain clay, if you haven't used it before, there are some tips that I've learned, in my almost 4 years of using it. First, you gotta knead it a lot. trust me, you have to knead it for at least 1 to 2 minutes every time you're doing like a new like a color or shape. You gotta mix it a lot to condition it well. And what I mean when I say that you gotta condition it is that you gotta sort of spread the moisture around all the clay that you're holding. Let's say if you're making like a little body for a figurine and you knead it for maybe just 5 seconds and then, oh well, you decide that it's done, it's very likely that it's gonna crack because not all the body has the same level of moisture. What I mean is basically, if there are different levels of moisture throughout the same piece of clay, it's probably gonna crack because it doesn't have the same drying time throughout the whole piece. So it's important that you knead it well, not only to spread the color if you're coloring the clay, but also just to condition it very well. And my other tip is that you gotta glue it pretty fast. Like usually, and in certain cases, depending on the figurine that you're making, you can wait for a specific piece to dry entirely before gluing it to the rest. But usually it's recommended to just glue it like immediately. If you wait too long and you try to glue 2 pieces, for example, that are somewhat hardened, maybe not entirely hard, but a little bit hardened, and you're trying to glue 2 equally hardened pieces, they're gonna crack. They're sort of going to burst as you press them together to glue them. So recommendation, just glue the pieces quickly. In general, just work fast because cold porcelain clay takes about 24 hours to dry entirely, maybe less depending on the size of the piece. But really, it takes maybe 30 minutes to an hour for a piece, even if it's little, to start to stiffen. So you have to work pretty fast. You can't take too long. You can't think too long about what you're doing. You gotta work pretty fast if you want to glue the pieces together and for the glue, to actually look sort of smooth and, for no cracks to occur. I'm just, giving them little arms and gluing them pretty fast. I make the arms, I glue them immediately, pretty much. If I roll them out, I glue them. That's it. You gotta be pretty quickly. You gotta be pretty fast. God, I'm sort of tongue-tied. I'm doing this without a script and very sleep deprived. I know that I'm saying a lot of words that are not correct, but I'm doing what I can. Dang it, I am doing what I can. That's just, you can see that I'm making a little color for some of the clowns. I tried to make them all different. Some of them have colors, some of them have bow ties. Their hats are all different. I really liked making the clowns. I also made an owl for some reason. I don't know. I just made an owl. I had to make a really tiny beak for an owl, so you can see there that I am adding in the beak. I also made sort of a brown hen, and I decided that I wanted to add a little handkerchief to this hen. Just measuring it, spreading it around, adding some glue. As long as the pieces are not entirely hard, you can glue them with just the normal water-based glue. If the pieces are all already completely hard when you want to glue them, you'll need to use something like super glue or resin. Here I tried to make sort of like the blue chicken from Stardew Valley. I really like Stardew Valley, so I attempted to make the blue chicken. I wanted to make her sit, but it ended up being a little bit out of balance, so she doesn't quite sit. I also made a bunch of little chicks. Yeah, just like yellow chicks, and gave them all slightly different features. So I'm giving one of the chicks like a headband, and it's gonna be like a bunny headband. Okay, I'm giving this one earmuffs for some reason. I'm gluing the little bunny ears to the headband for the other chick, and I'm giving this one a flower hat. These are all the figurines that I've made so far in the video. And here's some more figurines that I've made. I made like 3 different toads. I like them very much. This is a brown hen with a handkerchief. Let's say it's an old hen. And this is my toad wizard. I loved my toad wizard. And now we're at the painting stage. We gotta get ready for painting all of the 50 pieces. I have pretty much 50 pieces. Look at all of those pieces that I have to paint. So we really have to get to it. These are the acrylic paints that I use for painting the figurines. They're just a normal brand that you can get here in Costa Rica. They're Cantilan. You can use any kind of acrylic paint to do the coloring, the painting. This is my very crusty paint palette, and these are the brushes that I usually use. They're all small. I use like a very sort of tiny one for details, but these are the ones that I use the most. Now the painting stage, I do it in batches, right? Because I make the figurines and everything else in batches, so I could work on 20 pieces at a time. That means that it can take me 1 to 2 days to completely paint and seal 20 figurines. Well, if I'm making figurines or charms or earrings, they're all made out of porcelain clay. Of course, I also have to sand them or scratch them before painting them, just to get rid of any trash or lint or dust that might have gotten stuck in the clay as it dried. So that's what you see me doing here. I am scratching and sanding it, and after I'm done, I am just sort of sketching where the pattern for the cloak is gonna be, because I'm gonna make star cloak for the wizard toad, right? For some reason the camera didn't want to focus right here, so I'm sorry about that. But here I'm just painting little stars. The whole process of painting, sealing, sanding, or scratching each piece, and then getting them all done in batches of like 20, it can take me like 40 hours, like really 2 days. It's a lot of work.
This is what my chaotic desk workspace looks like now that I'm trying to get everything done for tomorrow. Well, not everything, but as much as I can. These are all on the first round of sealing. They need at least 3 coats. It's pretty much 12 a.m. already, so
I forgot to take photos of the figurines as usual, but here are some photos of the Toad Wizard. I love it. I love him. He was my cutest and best figurine this batch. I made clowns, I made all sorts of things. Here are some of the things that I sell on my stand. The porcelain clay figurines, charms, keychains. I make all sort of stuff. I'm very craftsy like that. I cannot choose anything to focus on. Here are some pins that I've drawn. I make a lot of earrings, either drawn on shrink plastic or sculpted from porcelain clay. Here's one of the days that we were just setting everything up, in our stands early in the morning. Here's my stand. I know that I didn't do my best recording the fair. I'm still pretty shy about recording when I'm outside my house. I haven't really gotten over that yet, but here are the things that I make. beadwork. I also like doing beadwork with a loom or without a loom, or porcelain clay figurines, some keychains and charms that I've drawn or, sewn myself. A few things for myself. This is a small notebook from Pinturas Forestia, and these are some stickers that I got, 2 from Scriptia, 1 from Actini, and 1 from Harmonia. I'm gonna link their pages below. And yeah, this is what the fair is like. It happens for a week every year, right at this time on April. It's a lot of fun. There are many cool stands, music, people. It's great. It's fun. Overall, I had a great week. I am very exhausted though, still getting a lot of frequent headaches. Really tired. My room is very messy. I'm still trying to clean it up. We're working on that, but yeah, I just had a great time, and yeah, I'll see you in 2 weeks. I'm just gonna try to rest a little before it gets chaotic again. If you like card games, craftsy stuff, anime, and other nerdy stuff, consider subscribing, like and comment appreciated, and I'll see you later in 2 weeks. Have a good day, night, evening, wherever it is, whatever you are, and bye!